Oh man.
We should tell people as well that this almost didn't happen because I messed up the times. If only there was like some kind of universal timekeeping method we could use. We'll be like, I'll meet you at Litecoin block 1.5726 million or something like that.
I guess we should just go off of which nobody does, but if we go off of the UTC, the Universal Time, I guess.
The Unix epoch. We'll all go off of that. Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of DigiByte and Friends. I'm joined today by Jon Moore, also known as Litecoin Tech Support. You'll know him from Twitter as Jon Moore. Jon, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about specifically how you got involved in Litecoin especially, and what your history is that makes you so experienced when it comes to payments and things.
Sure, sure. So I'm Jon Moore, aka Johnny Litecoin on Twitter, and I'm Litecoin tech support. So I help people set up Bitcoin, Litecoin, DigiByte, and some other cryptos for payment. I try to fit it into what they do in their daily business environment to make it work seamlessly. So why am I qualified to do this? Like, what gives me the right to go out and talk to people about this? I worked with the regular payment system for about the last 10 years. So I've done nothing but set up credit card payments, cash registers, point of sale systems, and mobile apps for businesses all across the United States. So I really got a good education on, hey, what people need, what are they looking for, what what could we present to them that is going to be good for adoption, that they're going to actually be willing to do. And how do we do it where we don't scare them with if they hear something scary about Bitcoin on TV? How do we overcome that and let them think, hey, this is just another payment option that we could be accepting?
Right, so because you've been involved specifically with Litecoin for around about 2 years, I think now you're saying? But you've been in the
Yeah,
payments
yeah,
industry for about a decade.
yep, yeah. I've been involved with like Litecoin payments and promoting it to the public for probably about 2 years now.
Cool. But do you get that a lot? So if you're going in and you're talking with somebody and it's kind of they've heard about it because everybody's seen it. It was 2017 and everyone's like, yay, we're, making millions hand over fist and everybody's getting rich. But do you get a lot of that kind of feedback from people that they are skeptical about it when you're going in to talk to them? So we've seen videos on Twitter where you'll walk into a business and you'll talk with people. Is that one of their main kind of hesitations? Like what stops them from wanting to take crypto?
So, believe it or not, I'd say one out of every four people has never heard of Bitcoin.
Really?
Yeah. And
Like
nobody
not at
thinks,
all. Like
never at all, like
wow.
all the time. I notice it maybe more with people that I encounter that maybe aren't born in the US, but maybe they immigrated here.
Right.
I noticed a higher ratio of people that don't understand it or know it, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily against it.
Right.
Because you're starting out with a clean slate and you're telling them about what it is and the benefits. A lot of people that really it's that they think that the price is too volatile a lot of times.
Sure.
They don't understand about you could just sell it right away and liquidate the coin and just move the value from A to B. So that's a lot of what we get. A lot of people just they laugh. A lot of people laugh. They Bitcoin, that's funny.
Yeah.
And I kind of come at them, okay, yeah, no problem. Why is it funny? And then they don't really have educated reasons why. It's just kind of what they heard. They heard it might be, is it for money laundering? Is it, I heard it went way up in price. Oh, I heard it's dead. Isn't it dead? It's not a thing anymore. Um, you get some of that, but I feel like every day that goes by is easier and easier because every day that goes by is another day that Bitcoin and cryptos existed.
Right.
And
Right.
so that I'm excited about that. That as more time goes by, it's just getting ingrained in everybody's mind that this is it's a real thing.
How much of that, in terms of it getting easier, is because like you've done this and you can recite it probably like with your eyes closed, I'd imagine, versus the fact that people are starting to hear more about it, and it's just kind of the sort of thing that pops up around your dinner table, and they'll hear, yeah, maybe it is legit, maybe, versus just the fact that you're very well experienced and you know a lot of the answers to those questions.
I think there's more on ramps now for it. So like even
Right.
like Cash App, which is really popular in the US. You could show people, hey, Cash App, you could buy and sell Bitcoin right now. My pitch or my presentation to people has gotten a lot better. I was so excited, I guess, about cryptos and Litecoin when I first really understood what it was, and when I kind of went out to talk to the public about it, that I talked too idealistic to people. I was a real crypto libertarian out there, and banks are bad, and
Right.
old keys and all that, and that's great for investors and people that want to hold the coin. But for people accepting it for payment, that's the wrong road to go down. That's like if you're driving down a highway, you veered off onto like off-roading. Like you better have the right vehicle for that, and your car is gonna get messed up.
So what's your normal kind of, I suppose, so you're really I suppose well known both for the online presence as well as in person. If you're going to approach somebody, like let's say that the viewers here are going, I'm inspired by this. What's your best suggestion for people to kind of get started with approaching people to take cryptocurrency as a business, as a means of payment? Like, do you have an opening line that's your favorite?
Well, I would say everybody should focus on the right types of businesses. In other words, there's some businesses that crypto payments are going to be a lot more viable for. So in other words, if somebody sells online,
Right.
say they have a retail store and then they opened up a website to sell online. I mean, that's a situation where why would they not accept cryptos for payment? They're going to be able to appeal to people that hold crypto all over the world. And then somebody that sells online, it's really hard to sell online. It's hard to drive traffic to your website. Now, if we say to them, hey, look, you might get some followers from social media, from the crypto community. You're going to come up higher in Google searches because tweets come up in Google.
Right.
So I
Right.
kind of present them with all this stuff, and then also too the fact that there's no chargeback. So when you go from brick and mortar to online, there's a lot more risk and fraud and chargebacks that occur online. So now when we say, hey, there's this stuff called Bitcoin, Litecoin, or DigiByte, you cannot have a chargeback. Business owners are like, oh, and I tell them, look, a credit card's risky online. You're gonna have a high rate of chargeback. So really, I'd say have everybody focus on the right places.
Sure.
And I just say to them that I would just walk in and say, hey, how are you? I'm in the area. I'm just informing businesses about Bitcoin and Litecoin and its use for payments. And then I just kind of say to them, have you heard of Bitcoin? And then I kind of react to how they respond. They may have a negative reaction, and then I have to go one way. They may have a positive reaction, and I go another direction. So I've walked in on people that love Litecoin. They're like, I own Litecoin. Oh my God, you're in here. Like, so they're so excited. And then
Yep, I'm here. Yep.
I've walked in on other people that basically make it seem like I'm ruining the world. And if they had a gun, they'd probably blow my head off. So we get it's kind of funny. One guy, my most memorable story, one guy goes to me, he goes, I don't believe in Bitcoin. I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, I don't believe in it. I said, sir, I'm a payments company telling you that it's a real thing you can accept for payments. I said, this is not like Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny where you have to pay something. I said, this is like a thing for payments. I mean, it's a real thing you could accept for payments. I said, you may not think it's going to be valuable in the future, but I said, it does work for moving money from A to B. But he was like, well, I don't believe it. So people are crazy with the responses to you.
That's fantastic. Do you have, like, I suppose over time, the more you do it, you're gonna build up a bunch of those stories. Do you have, like, a favorite story about when you've walked in there, like, to a store and someone said something just completely outlandish? I suppose in that similar kind of vein.
Um, that was one of my favorite ones where the guy didn't believe in it. I don't get too much where people are that terrible to me because I'm I'm pretty good at sales. I pretty much know how to kind of get in there, and I'm not pushy with people. In other words, I present the stuff. I don't do it in a pushy manner. Um, and I usually, even people that kind of shoo me away, I kind of leave as I'm leaving them something. I throw one or two things out there. I don't press them, and I'm pretty good at walking in on people. The most memorable one was again this guy that he didn't believe in it. He was adamant about telling me he does not believe in it. I think I had one time a guy kicked me out. I said the word Bitcoin. He goes, get out. He goes, get out. I said, what do you mean? I said, no. I said, I'm just informing the public about this. I'm not. He goes, get out of here. He goes, get out of here. Like, threw me out. I was like,
Sorry.
when they think like, was it me he was mad at, or was it something else? He was
Yeah.
mad at have that reaction.
I mean, I guess that's obviously pretty difficult knowing what we've seen a lot of people jump in, specifically like in the middle of a bull run, and then they'll hold it down until it's worth like 10% of what it was. And so even though it's not specifically, like, it's not your fault, it's not my fault, it's not any individual's fault, they've still had that negative kind of experience because they rode the hype train for a little bit and now they're looking at it going, ugh. So in terms of like the price volatility, if we kind of come back to that, I presume that that's something that comes up a lot, and you talk to them about being able to exchange it for fiat currencies. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, so I actually present to them a lot of times a solution that they cannot even keep crypto. They don't have to know how to use a wallet. They don't have to know anything. They just have to know how to type in the customer's name
Yep.
and dollar amount and hit open wallet or email invoice. It takes in Bitcoin, Litecoin in one end, and it funds US dollar to their bank account. And then if they keep talking about price volatility, I say to them, yeah, that's only if you're an investor in the coin. I say to them, look, you just want to accept it for payment. If you want to invest in the coin, now you got to worry about the price volatility.
Right.
But if you're just using a method like this, so yeah, it does come up a lot. A lot of times, people get nasty where they bought at the high and they're not going to touch the stuff again.
Right.
I'll just throw out to people. I'll just say, oh, well, it doesn't sound like you're a very good investor. And they're like, what, excuse me? And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't sound like you're a very good investor. I said, if you only bought at the high and the price has been lower for now about 2 years and you didn't put any more money back in and you had the chance to put money in a lot lower levels, I said, you didn't do it justice. I said, it's not a get rich quick scheme. So
Right.
I like people, but I give it back to them too when they come at me nasty.
I suppose like that's not the kind of like to anybody watching this. This is not advice that you should go in and start like heckling people about being too.
No, do not do that. That's like your oh shit plan. Like somebody's making you feel like this. You know what?
Obviously, because Johnny's probably like arguably one of the most well-known, well-liked figures, especially in the Litecoin space. You're very charismatic, and you're great with that kind of a sales pitch as well. So, to anybody specifically watching this, don't go in there and start doing that.
No. Let me give your audience what they should be telling people when they come in the street.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Here's what not to do as your first.
What I said before is how you piss people off. But what you want to say, if you want to get people interested for payments, you don't want to get too into this. You don't want to get too into the technicals of it.
Yep.
You want to just say to them, look, Bitcoin, Litecoin, DigiByte, it works similar to PayPal for payments. So they can plug into a website, shopping cart, very easy. So kind of like PayPal, it's money that's on another platform, and then you move it out of that platform into your bank account whenever you want. I tell the people it's very easily convertible into US dollar. And I tell them, in fact, we have a program where you automatically receive US dollar. You don't even have the option of keeping crypto unless you want to keep the crypto. Then we'll set you up with a different type of product. And then I just tell them it's a very secure way to accept payments. So I immediately point out a credit card. I say, really with payments, there's different security levels. I tell them credit cards, most popular, most risky. PayPal, moderately popular, but it's moderately risky. And I tell them PayPal and credit cards can hold the money on you for 180 days.
Which is heaps of time. That's 6 months.
A lot of people say, oh, no, I never had that problem, right? You just say to them, look, it's great, you know, problem, but if you start taking more phone orders in, or if you ever go to sell online, you will have the problem because now you don't know the customers. You're not face to face with them. So I kind of just focus on that stuff, and then I finish it off with, I say, and not only is it safer for payments, it's easy to accept for payment, it costs less than credit cards or PayPal. I say you have the advantages of the security, it costs less. I said then the icing on the cake is that this is going to be good for your search engine optimization. You're going to be found more on Google. You may get some new social media friends and followers because the crypto community loves to support businesses that accept cryptos for payments. So I focus more on the marketing end of it and how it's going to be a good appeal, modernize your business. I tell them, you know, what a way to make your business seem more tech savvy, more modern, more efficient.
Yep.
Like really I don't go any deeper than that with them. Then what happens is if they start seeing it work, then they start asking questions more. They're like, you know, they start to get it. But I don't approach them with the other stuff first, anything technical.
Yeah.
I don't get into really the limited supply at first. I don't get into the mining. You know, sometimes I'll just say it's if people say they don't really know what it is, or they say I've heard of it, what is it? I just say it's a new type of money and payment system built specifically for the internet. And then they're like, oh, okay. And that's the explanation of the what.
Cool. And in terms of like how often do you go in somewhere and you're talking with somebody and they'll I presume you'll kind of go back there later, or do you do it all on the first visit? Like, how does that work?
Depends how receptive they are. So usually it's not a first visit thing. You can't, especially if you're walking in up the street. You're kind of giving out information. Maybe you sit with the merchant for a couple minutes, and then you're kind of on your merry way. And it's also too, I'm not a pushy salesman. I'm very like laid back. I'm kind of like a machine gun style, I call it, but in a laid back manner where I never seem like I'm pushy or pressing you, but I'm constantly spraying you with information. So you're not getting out of my crosshairs, but I'm not doing it in a way that's making you uncomfortable. Give you a great example. I was setting up before the Litecoin Summit. I went to a business. This is actually a business that I was doing the payment stuff for already, and I was connecting the credit card portion to his website. And actually, it was a perfect. He let himself into it. He started asking about security with credit cards and what protection does he? He was pressing me. And I said, look, you don't have any protection with credit cards. I said, it's popular. I said, and it's not me on my end that's not protecting it. It's just how the system's built. Then I went into PayPal, moderate security, moderately popular. And I said, cryptocurrency, not as popular right now, but the highest security level. And then he started asking me questions about it. And I said, look, that's the only payment I could tell you could take without fraud is cryptos. And he just goes to me, goes, why am I not accepting cryptos then? You are. You just didn't realize it. We're going to set it up for you. So I told him, look, I said, I'll come back in 2 weeks and I'm connected into your website. In the meantime, we set him up with a gateway.
Awesome.
And then that's where I was today. That's where before this, I was, that's the video I did before.
Nice. Nice. How, I suppose, like, do you ever come across people and there's not like a crypto plugin? Like, I suppose a lot of times there's always things like CoinGate and things like that. If they've got some kind of little mom and pop web designer, do you have any suggestions then for them about like accepting cryptos over the internet, or how do you normally tackle that kind of thing?
So if they have an old website or a website that's not good, like the platform, I usually I go into actually, because I know some stuff about marketing and like how to push this stuff out to like Twitter and to Facebook and other platforms. I kind of show them my site and I compare it to what they're using, and I show them the different marketing stuff we could do. A lot of times I try to convert them into using Shopify or Ecwid or something that's just more modern and more designed for e-commerce. And usually those people like really are like happy to get this information because they're like, look, we weren't getting a lot of traffic. Our site's not really made for e-commerce. And it's really like valuable information that they're receiving. I actually talk to people about that a lot of times first. And then I say to them, look, I'll give you help doing the website or help show you how to use the new platform. And I'm also going to help you accept cryptocurrency for payment. I explained to them that you're going to get a few followers. It's going to be good for your marketing. I can tweet this to my following. Maybe you'll get a sale from it. And they're on board because they're like, awesome. That's what they're looking to do anyways.
Why would you turn that down?
Right. So you gotta remember, and I'm big on this. We argue on Twitter about the scaling solutions, right? We're always arguing about the transactions per second, the second layer solutions, on chain, off chain, this and that, and which is
people don't
great.
Care.
We're making these networks strong, but the general public, they could care less. They just want to get paid, and so the use case for any business is customers and sales. That's it. That's the use case for a business.
And I think one of the big things as well so far that we've especially been talking about is that when you're approaching a business, you're not approaching them to sell them on cryptocurrency, but you're approaching them to bring value to them. And so by changing that whole entire narrative, rather than just, I need you to take cryptocurrency, into I can help you, we can make this more secure, you can get your payments faster, you don't have to worry about chargebacks. All of a sudden, it opens up a lot more avenues. Is that a fair assumption for?
It's the best way to go because now you came in through the back door. They're happy with what their information you're giving them. Their guard's not up, and now these people do ask a lot of questions. They end up asking me like, while I'm helping them, they say, "Do you own this stuff, John?" And I say, "Oh, of course." I said, "I don't." Then I'll get into when they start asking me questions. I say, "Look, I really don't trust the banks much." And they say, "Well, why not?" I tell them, "Oh, because I work with the banks every day. I get to see what they do." And then people are like, they really start scratching their head and they're like, you know what? The guy that does the payments owns this and he's telling me he doesn't trust the bank. Like, he might know something we don't know. And it's the best way to get people to even want to buy cryptos because they got to see it for payments first. Like, I'll give you a great story. My uncle is a degenerate gambler. You don't get worse than him at gambling, right?
Hi, Uncle, if you're watching.
So last summer, I was hanging out with them, into bond with them. I was gambling with them, right? So he goes to me, he goes, hey, I think my gambling app accepts Bitcoin, right? So I said, well, let's take a look at it. And it did. It even took Litecoin. So I said, hey, you know what? Watch this. I said, I owe you $20 anyways. I'll send it to your gambling app, right? I sent bucks in. So I lost. I'm not a good gambler. I had to like 3 more times I sent money to his gambling app, right? Now he's like, wow, he goes to me, this stuff is great because he's seeing how fast he's getting credited.
Mm.
They're not hitting him with a surcharge.
Right.
Time I sent him the third payment, he goes to me, Johnny, he goes, get me a Bitcoin wallet. He goes, I want to own me some of this stuff, right? So I said, Big T, why don't if you ever win in gambling, you just take this as the payment? So he goes, yeah, he's never won, so he hasn't got the chance. but if people see it for payments first, the worst thing to do is to learn about Bitcoin and to have your first experience be an exchange like Coinbase, because that's too banking like. They're asking you for your identity right away, right? All this stuff. So people are like, they're like, oh, Bitcoin wants to know my birthday and my social security, and I'm like, Bitcoin doesn't want to know that. Government's requiring that, So I always say, download Exodus wallet on the people's computer. Now this is not a business. This is now we're going into more like personal, right? Download Exodus or Coinomi or a wallet like that, right? Send them $1 or $2.
Yep.
Show them how it works. These people are blown away with they hold those seed words in their hand. Didn't ask them who they are. Their balance got credited. They usually look at me and they're like, wow, they're like, it doesn't ask who I was. I tell them, and I'm like, you don't lose those freaking seed words. Yeah. I'm like, it's Scarface threat I give them.
It's funny that you mentioned that as well. So I remember going back to this was even before the 2017 big bull run, and I'm helping a friend of mine, and he says to me, he's like, I want to get in on this. He's like, I want to get me some Bitcoin. Okay, sure, I'll help you get some Bitcoin. Now, unfortunately, back then, and I'm sure this was again a similar kind of story with Litecoin and a story just in the US in general. But trying to buy Bitcoin in New Zealand sucked. It was terrible. So we had to go through a whole bunch of different steps, signing up for multiple different websites, multiple different exchanges, and then he was getting his basically his Bitcoin, and he's like, I want to buy some Litecoin, I want to buy me some DigiByte, I want to buy me some Vertcoin, and to have to go through, and I think there was like 4 different places we had to sign him up for, and each of them wants to know all of his details and things like that. It was terrible. But so I like the idea of getting people interested and intrigued and excited about it, because they can see, especially I think probably for me, one of the best things is helping to pay for pizza or pay for a round of beers. You're out with friends and someone will say, right, I'll buy the first round. You say, let me help you out. I'll chip in for this. You buy my beer and I'll buy the next ones instead, sort of thing. And pay them with a little bit of crypto. I've personally found that as a really good way, exactly like you say, to show them immediately, look, it's right there. They download the wallet, it takes a couple seconds, and it's there. It's instant. And they don't care if you're selling them, not selling them, if you're giving them Bitcoin or Litecoin or DigiByte or whatever, as long as they're getting something and they can see the dollar value there.
They're cool. At the Litecoin Summit, we were paying each other back and forth all the time with cryptos. I mean, we were like, people were buying silver coins from me. We're out for drinks. Somebody picks up the bill. We're out for dinner, and we're sending Litecoin back and forth. I think we sent some DigiByte back and forth. I mean, we don't. It's funny though. And I think it really goes to, maybe it's more like how we market it, and also to the fees and the clearing. But I don't send Bitcoin back and forth really ever. Like I used Bitcoin to buy gold once or twice, and I used some Bitcoin. I made another large purchase. I sent like half Litecoin, half Bitcoin, but those smaller purchases, I don't know. It's like this sting in your mind. Like, should I be using Bitcoin or but Litecoin or DigiByte? I mean, it's faster, it's cheap. I mean, I love demoing DigiByte because I like to send like 1/100th of a penny
Right.
and show people it costed like 1/10, like, one like 10,000th of a penny. And I show people like this is going to enable micro transactions on the internet. And then, I'll kind of, people are like, what do you mean micro transactions? I'm like, let's think about the future, machine to machine. I'm like, maybe a news article you buy, just, a download, it's a penny or two, So it's is a good coin to definitely a good coin to demo as well.
Well, I think one of the things that I've really liked as well is specifically the wallets, and just I like the look of them personally. I feel like that's still like similar to, like you say, being able to, like, the subconscious kind of people would rather pay with Litecoin than Bitcoin. Subconsciously, I think also the fact that the wallet looks nice as well. And I had an opportunity as well to play with the new Lite wallet, which is out on iOS. Are you on iOS or Android yourself? I presume.
Yeah. I'm using the new Lite wallet. So it has a nicer look to it.
Yeah, and so I think that's one of the things as well that really, not excites is probably the wrong word, but people like the look of it, though, especially when it shows up and it looks pretty and it's fast to download. All of that kind of adds up really quickly to make a really great experience for people. In terms of making great experiences, though, what are your thoughts on if somebody has had like a kind of a bad experience with losing their seed phrase or something in the past? I know we're slightly veering away from using cryptocurrency as payments here, but I know that you've got a lot of good advice, especially in this kind of area. What would your thoughts be if somebody has had a bad experience previously in terms of subsequently getting them again into using it for payments and remittance back and forth and things?
I mean, if they lost, I haven't had too many people that lost seed words. I mean, I guess it's, you just kind of tell them that they probably weren't educated properly and they didn't know.
Guard this with your life.
Yeah, they didn't get that Scarface threat where I'm like, you don't lose these words. but I just compare it to cash. I just say to them, look, it's cash, it's digital cash.
Right.
And I tell them I've lost cash before where I misplaced it, fell out of my pocket. I had money in an envelope one time. I remember as a little kid, I lost like $750. It was like my savings. I was devastated. So I just compare it to that. And I haven't really had that happen too much. I think a lot of people that if you're going to use seed words and have any significant amount, you're probably going to be somebody that knows about cryptos to some extent, where if you don't know much about cryptos, you're probably going to leave it on like an exchange. So you're going to leave it in Coinbase. You're going to leave it in Cash App. I guess in the States, we've been lucky because Coinbase is pretty reputable. A lot of people keep their crypto in there and they've been fine.
Yep.
But I've seen people's Coinbase accounts get hacked and people, people think they're calling Coinbase tech support and they Google search a number, they get a different number and they call them and somebody takes control of their computer and sends the coins out to another wallet. So I've had somebody tell me that. But yeah, just always compare it to something else in the regular life. And then it kind of takes it away from this only can happen in crypto.
Right, of course. Speaking of tech support, though, so you have recently started up the Litecoin tech support on Twitter. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that and what some of your goals there are in terms of like helping people and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so my original intention for Litecoin tech support was that I said, who's going to help give support to merchants and to people on the network level? If not, it's just going to be companies giving support for their own products. Right. As we all know, big companies don't always have our best interests at heart. So my idea was that start up Litecoin tech support, get good credibility, get to know who the good people are, right? And now I can almost say we get a lot of adoption coming in. Now I point in the future where I got to have people manning a phone for Litecoin tech support. Well, I have years of history now with certain people, like you take people on Twitter that we like Red Cat Life or somebody like that, like
Right.
so trustworthy. So I could be like, hey, Cat, would you want to answer the phones from such and such hours and help give people support? And it's a lot of it came down to that of just saying to myself, like, who is going to do this? Like, there was really nobody I saw that was going to step up and do it. And then I said, what a cool way to get the banks. And a lot of it comes down to this. As everybody knows, I do hate banks. They're not in this for us by any means. I give support on the equipment that they sell. Banks all sell clover, and they stink at supporting it. So now if I come in as the name Litecoin and I'm giving better support on the stuff that the banks sold, it's flat out embarrassing. And now I'm thinking that if I can keep building this up, right, and enough time goes by, and then if they're trying to plan Bitcoin, Litecoin, that's a scam, it's for bad people. Well, no, wait a minute. They're helping do support in the regular payments world.
Sure, yeah.
So I always say, we are the good guys of payments.
Nice. That's really cool. And I suppose speaking of like being the good guys and for payments, what are your thoughts around ATMs and opening up accessibility for people to be able to get their hands on it to start using crypto as a payment method?
If the fees are decent, then I think it's a good viable option. I've seen a lot of ATMs where the fees are insane.
Yeah.
But as long as the fees are like under 10%, like CoinFlip is a good example. It's 6.9% to buy. I think they're usually about 3.9% to sell.
Right.
So very, very reasonable. I think it's a great idea because people see it. It lets you get cryptos instantly. Maybe you need to buy something and the merchants demanding cryptos, right? So, my thing I'm thinking is in cannabis dispensaries.
Right.
They have a huge problem with the regular payment system. Now, say we put a Bitcoin ATM next to a cannabis dispensary, and that cannabis dispensary owner says, look,
right,
I'll give you 10% to pay via Litecoin, right? And they say, well, I don't have Litecoin. He says, well, go to that machine there and buy it at 6.9%. You're in the green 3.1%.
It's a win-win scenario.
Yeah, it's an introduction to cryptos. And now that person may say, well, is there any cheaper place to buy it at? Yeah, sure. If you go buy it through an exchange online, you could buy it at 1% or something like that.
Yep.
You come in and save 9%. So I love the ATM idea. Again, I don't think people are gonna. Somebody wants to buy $100,000 in Bitcoin. They're not going to do it through an ATM, but
of course,
it has that specific use case.
Sure, right. And in terms of, you mentioned like the cannabis dispensaries and things like that, which have historically been shafted, I suppose, by the traditional banking system. Do you have any other information that you think would be useful to share to people, specifically around like why people should be using the likes of Litecoin and cryptocurrency for payments rather than the traditional banking system?
So like the cannabis environment, so I actually see stable coins playing a big role. And the reason why is that you can, even a cannabis dispensary, if you say to them, do you want to accept Bitcoin or Litecoin? They say, I've had a lot of pushback actually from that industry, surprisingly. And they, the price is volatile and this and that. And they go to the volatility a lot, right? So but they have a problem with banking. So you can't necessarily...
They're stuck between a rock and a hard place, really.
Because you can say to them, well, now accept Litecoin, but it's not going to be easy to get it into your bank account, right? They can convert into a stable coin
Right.
and keep value constant. And now use that stable coin or convert back into Litecoin when they have to actually use the money or spend it. So that's going to play a big role. And also, too, there is some banks that will bank cannabis, but it's not like Chase Bank or Bank of America or like the main banks people use. So chances are that bank is not convenient or it's not in their area where they're at.
Right.
Now you can say to them, look, if you accept Litecoin, you can actually get the money now into this bank account because you can accept Litecoin in, connect that bank account to a crypto exchange, and now you're sending your Litecoin to that exchange and converting the money. You don't have to drive cash 500 miles to your bank that's in the middle of nowhere. You know, so
right.
A lot of use. It's just, again, the volatility is the biggest concern people have. It's alleviating those concerns, letting them know how they can use these other methods to eliminate
all the options that people have, for sure. Do you think over time that the volatility is going to decrease enough, or do you think that the people are at the end of the day still going to want to withdraw to some other kind of stable coin, or will Satoshis and Bitcoin simply be that, or Latoshis?
We're going to hit a critical mass where in the future the fiat currencies will be more volatile than the cryptocurrencies. It's going to cross paths at some point, and Bitcoin will be very stable in the future. I mean, I'd say probably 15 years from now, 20 years from now, I mean, Bitcoin won't move more than 1% in a day. That'll be like Bitcoin moved 1% today. It'll be like talked about on TV, right? Because, it's all about the percentage of the population that owns it.
Sure.
As you get it more spread out, it's less volatile because now you're not bidding. Now those buys and sells aren't affecting the market as much. Right now, if you sold $100 million worth of Litecoin, you're going to crash the price, right? If Litecoin market cap was $5 trillion, someone sells $100 million, it's gonna be a blip on the radar, you know? So I definitely see a time where the cryptocurrencies become a lot more stable. And the cool thing is, too, the only reason fiat currencies like the dollar is stable is because of government interaction.
Yeah.
They have to manipulate the hell out of the system to keep the dollar to seem stable. We're looking at a potential future where no government interactions needed to keep a currency stable. I mean, you think about it, it's like, I even have predictions where I think if we really let the decentralized coins take over, that it's going to eliminate most war. Countries won't have the money to fight wars. There's sound money. They can only do it when they can print and create money. You can't get the population of a country to agree to invade another country if you're on like a gold standard or a Bitcoin standard, right? Right now it doesn't matter. It's people think, oh yeah, it's good. It's probably good for the economy if we invade this country, right? Because they're going to print all this money up and put people to work, right? So, that's the hope. Does it all come true? That's what we're here for. You know what I say? I'm going to go down with a fight, man. Like, I'm not going to go down without fucking swinging. So.
Yeah. What's interesting, I think actually in the States in the last couple of weeks, how much money has been printed? $250 billion or something along that?
Because of these overnight repos. So the banks, as of the middle of September, the banks are having to, or the Fed is having to infuse money into the system. The banks in the U.S. lend to each other on an overnight basis, right? This has always kind of been how the system works. But now there's actual liquidity like crisis or liquidity shortage, right? Now the Fed has to come in and infuse money into the system just to make these banks whole. If not, we'll wake up one day and the banks won't work. Actually, funny, I had somebody that didn't get on a certain platform I use. Some people didn't get their deposit today, and they coincidentally the equipment all or the everything settled a couple minutes after the cutoff time. And these people pressed me as to why this occurred. And the only reason I could possibly give them was that the banks are manipulating the system. I explained about these overnight repos. I said there's a crisis going on right now. I said, and that's because they kept saying, why did this happen? I said, honestly, this is probably why it happened. I mean, they probably just had to keep enough money on the balance sheet and said, no credit card batches are going out tonight. We need that liquidity in until the morning.
Right. So over time, you heard it here first, people. You want to be paying with cryptocurrency so that you can avoid the bank's manipulation. I think we should probably start to wrap this up, but I want to thank you especially for coming on to the show. It's been an absolute honor to have you here and to learn so much about payments, have all your insights. If people are wanting to catch up with you and wanting to learn a little bit more about this, where is the best place for them to find you?
Awesome. So if they're on Twitter, obviously Johnny Litecoin. My DM is always open. I keep it open for a reason. I'm Litecoin tech support. I'm here to help the public. You can also go to my website, litecointechsupport.com. You can see some of the different services that we offer. We also offer traditional payment equipment, so we can help you get a regular point of sale system for your business. And you could go on there and fill out a contact form, and we'll contact you. You could also email me, Jon, Jon, at litecointechsupport.com. And I'm here to help the public. So I support at the network level itself. I don't push one product over the other. I listen to the situation and I help you with what's best for your particular situation.
Brilliant. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Jon Moore here, Johnny Litecoin, also known as Litecoin Tech Support, telling you that you should accept cryptocurrency for payments.
Love it. Thanks a lot for having me on, Josiah.
Really appreciate your time, man. Thanks again.
All right, take care.